Hi, a very good morning. Today, I would like to begin my talk with a very small moment of enlightenment which brought me to this stage today. A couple of years ago, we just bought a new house, and me and my brother, as you see in this picture, we were trying to move piles and piles of our stuff in boxes to a new home. There was this one box, obviously, with all my wardrobe, which was the heaviest of all, which I was trying to pull and make it go to my room. And I was just wondering whether I'll be able to do that. I just looked up to my brother, since siblings are the ones who give you the motivation. I just looked up at him and asked, "Hey, do you think I can do that?" He said, "Yeah, of course, go for it. You can do it if you use all your strengths." I was like, okay. I usually admire this man and I trusted him and I tried my level best. The first thing, I rolled up my sleeves, I bent down, I tried to pull up the box, lift it up and go. It didn't happen. I tried to sit down and use my legs and give that pressure. It didn't happen. I got frustrated. I was damn pissed. And I just looked at him. Dude, what did you think before saying that I could do it? Look at me. I'm so timid. And you think this heavy box can be lifted up by me? He said, I was right as always. I told you to use all your strengths. You could have asked me, dumb. Right? Right. So that is this one small thing which we usually miss. We usually miss to consider the fact that it is not just us who need to bother about our goals. There are people who are wishing to do the same thing, who are wishing to go ahead. Probably you can connect with them and you can make a connected change of strength. And that is what my topic for today is: play to all your strengths. You must have heard about this fact. Okay, let's play to your strength. How many of you have heard about it? Play to your strengths. Yes, that is absolutely perfect because it is going to give you the best outcome because you're loving what you do, you enjoy what you do. But really, let's be a little more realistic. In today's world, do you think just playing to your strength will help you achieve everything? No. Maybe I want to do something which is out of my strengths. Leave. Maybe it needs something more. Doesn't mean that I just give up on my goal. No, I'm not the one who gives up. Then what is the next thing? I would like to play to all my strength. I would like to find the people who are really interested in my goal and who bring something new to the table, who have something which I do not have, who cover up on my weaknesses and I cover up on theirs. Right? And it creates this entire cycle of teaching each other, working together, and achieving something which both of us are passionate about. Right? And that is nothing but teaming up. Of course, teaming up is something which is not new. Most of you here must have worked with teams, right? How many of you have worked with your teams in your career, in your class projects? Awesome. This was one experience which you have got where you knew the people, right? You were never given that opportunity to find your own team, to create the one. And today we are going to talk about just those four elements which you need to create a winning team, something which makes your battle half won. The very first thing, the very first element is having diverse skills. It is pretty much obvious. Yes, you need diverse skills. Why would you team up with somebody who has something similar to you? How does it fill in that emptiness of not having the required skills to come up and achieve your goals? You need diverse skills. But the biggest question is how? Here are these four elements within the diverse skills which will help you get the right people on board. The very first thing is, what skills do you need to achieve your goal? For a moment, I want all of you to think about that one small thing which was in your head, that brilliant idea which you always kept in, you wanted to work on, but you just couldn't because you somehow consciously, unconsciously felt that no, I probably alone cannot do it. I want you to think about that idea. Make a small mental note of the skills which you would have required to fulfill that ambition of yours. Did you make it? Did you have that small idea in your head? Awesome. Then the next step would be that you try to have understanding of what are your natural strengths. When I say natural strength, what does it mean? It's something which you really thoroughly enjoy doing, which brings in the positive flow of energy within yourself. It's only then you're going to do your best. And natural strengths finding is nothing but having self assessment of yourself. You would say, okay, self assessment, I know pretty much about myself. But honestly speaking, that's not the case. We fail to know ourselves completely. We fail to have a true assessment of what really we are good at. This is something which is coming out of my experience. Over the years, I always used to feel that, okay, I'm a creative person. Someday I'm going to become an artist because I really admire all the creativity around me, the colors, the beautiful architectures. I am a creative person. I kind of overestimated it because today, when I look back and see where I am, I'm nowhere related to the creative aspects of things. I'm nowhere an artist. I'm a person who's finding hidden numbers in data. That must be one aspect of creativity, but it's not what I thought. I kind of overestimated it. And there is another situation wherein I meet people, I work with my boss and my colleagues, and they come up to me and say, "Hey, Divya, you know what? You're really good at communication. You know what? You're really good at numbers." And that amazes me. I never thought that this is my skill. I thought that was my second nature. It happens to all of us, right? Most of us feel, okay, this is casual. Most of us know this. There's nothing which is exclusive to me. But you're underestimating yourself. So it's really important to have a natural assessment of your skills, to know what you're really good at, and which of those things which you're good at would apply to the goal you want to achieve. Once you know that, you know what is missing in your mental list, right? What is missing is the skill gap. And you need to fill the skill gap. The traditional way would be work on your weakness. Who has the time for it? Do you have? I don't have the time, right? We are quick. We want everything which is quick success, quick results. So the smarter way would be tap your network, find people, right? Find people who fill in the skill gap. Go to your friends, go to your colleagues, family, because you've known them for years. You have observed them. And this is something which is ironical, but it is true that you observe others better than you observe yourself, right? You always would know, okay, this friend of mine, the way he talks about fashion, for example, it just lightens him up. This is something he's really passionate about. You see it. So you know people better. So that is why it's really important to tap your first degree network at first hand, because that is something which is accessible to you, which is quick, right? And to just sum it up, I would give a very small example. Let's say I am somebody who's really interested in fashion and I have my own taste and I want to create a blog. I want to create a blog wherein I can spread the idea of my taste throughout the world. I need three quick skills for it: somebody who can write a blog very nicely, somebody who knows what fashion is all about, and somebody who is a fashion photographer, right? That gives me this first circle. What are the skills you need to achieve your goal? The second step would be, what do I have as a person? I know I am passionate about fashion. I know a lot about it. Okay, skill one, tick. I have the fashion knowledge. Fortunately, I'm a good writer. Skill two, tick. What about being a photographer? I'm not one. I'm I'm not one who is a photographer. I don't have the time to gain the skills. What would I do? That is my skill gap. Fashion photography, right? And then I would like to tap in my first degree network. I know there are a couple of friends of mine who are really into photography. I would like to go and have a conversation with them to know how they feel about photography, especially when it comes to fashion photography. And yes, I've nailed it to one person, for example, that he is really interested in fashion photography. And what comes next to consider is common values. Maybe the person I chose has a good knowledge about fashion photography, he's really interested. Maybe he's doing it for leisure. Who knows? He doesn't want to create a profession out of it. And maybe he doesn't enjoy participating in your blog. There is no mutual benefit. If you're a team, the most important aspect is to have mutual benefits. If there is none, probably it won't work out because the other person's not going to give his best. And maybe the situation turns around another way, that he is somebody who wants to create fashion photography as his profession. And this is the right break for him, a right opportunity to portray his challenge. And then that is a winning situation. So having common values is really important. Having aligned goals is important. You imagine yourself working with somebody on his goals and you're really not interested. Are you going to put in your 100%? No, right? The next step would be team chemistry. How would you work with people? You have all set of talented people. Let's say I have a team of 10. Everybody is excellent. One is from finance, one is from IT. I am terrific with my team. But is it going to work if the people are not people are from different psychology traits? Probably people are somebody who is having different personality. Coming back to our example of creating a fashion blog, let's say I am a person with a different personality trait and I'm really bossy. And I'm just this one kind of person who says my way or highway, just that. And another person, that is the photographer, he says, okay, I'm submissive. I just want my team to be happy. I have better ideas, but probably I would not give her because she's not ready to understand it. She's happy with her own ideas, and I want the peace. I am submissive, right? Do you think that they are going to build up a beautiful product? No, right? So you need these four elements when it comes to team chemistry. Whenever you choose your team, make sure that they are good listeners. Make sure that they can communicate their ideas well. Make sure about the fact that they are open and receptive to your ideas. It's only then you will have different perspectives. Why are you creating a team if your brain was alone, right? The entire genesis was because you wanted different perspectives. To let that happen, you need people with personalities who accept that, who gives room to a healthy debate, right? And last but not the least, within team chemistry is the fact that you need to have people who are good at working with themselves, independently working, who are good at working with a team. You cannot sit in the team throughout the time to do all your tasks. Definitely, you will have your own sessions, discussions, and then you would switch back, go to your work. Probably the photographer is going to go and edit his photos. Probably the writer is going to go and write his another article. There are two different aspects. You want people who can do both of them pretty well, right? If you have to follow up with the photographer, hey, did you edit that photo? It's pending since long. It again becomes like an employer and employee relationship. It doesn't benefit you, it doesn't save your time, right? So you need to find the best blend, the best team chemistry. And last but not the least, and often ignored factor is have some fun. Yes. So working with a team, oh, it seems very exhausting. You are spending a lot of time with them. You are spending maximum amount of time with them. You don't want to work and just scratch your head and say, oh, I just want to get this done fast. I can't stand this guy. You don't want to be in that situation, right? So you need to break the ice. You need to have some fun. There can be situations where you're working with a team. You're lucky enough to work with people whom you already know. You have a comfort zone. But what if you don't know the person? What if you have not known him personally and there is some kind of tension when you come to talk at a casual level? What are you going to do? The best way to deal with this situation is whenever you have a group meeting, whenever you have your team meetings, break the ice. Have a small game which breaks the ice, which is totally irrelevant from what you're working on. Let them group think. Have a group activity, the one which I'm going to do now. I want you all to stand up. Hey. All right, let's stretch a little. Raise your hands. Put it down. Look at the person to your left. Look at the person to your right. Awesome. Okay, clap your hands. Clap your hands again. Louder. Give a high five. Give a high five. Awesome. Now I'll give a twist in this tale. Is that when I say clap your hands, you're supposed to give a high five to your person next to you. When I say high five, you're supposed to clap your hands. Got it? Let's begin. Clap your hands. Okay, let's try it again. Clap your hands. You both can carry on together. It's okay. Okay, clap your hands. Give a high five. Clap your hands. Give a high five. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. That's it. Thank you so much. You can take your seats. Right. This was just little icebreaker exercise which made you feel a little more comfortable with the person sitting next to you. Probably this will help you enjoy the next talk better. So these are the small things which you need to consider. And lastly, these are the only four elements which you need to really bother about when you create your team for your idea. Make sure you have all of these. I've learned it very hard with my failures. And I know it's not just one of them, two of them, or three of them that works for you. It is all of them which will work for you, right? And this is because I have been in one of the cases in business bowl competition at Bentley. I had created a wonderful team, and you can see with the picture, we are also happy. We have 20 teams in the competition, and our team won the second place. That's really worth an applause. But but there is this little thing which just did not take us to the first position. That is just one. I had wonderful, fantastic people with diverse skills. I had somebody who was an IT expert. I had somebody from finance. I had a marketing person. I myself was an analytics person. That was fabulous. I had the common goal. We all wanted to win. Obviously, we all wanted to win. We had fun. It is so clearly visible in this picture. But what was missing was the team chemistry. A little bit more push on team chemistry, a little bit more time, probably we would have won the first place. So that's my message for today. Play to all your strengths and play well. Thank you.